You're with us as a part of our community. So we'll begin our night with Kabbalat Shabbat, Yadid Nefesh, page 12.
Yadid Nefesh, Al Karachaman, B'Shavtecha, Eretz Zonecha, Yarutz Avtecha, Gmo Hayam, Ishtachaveh El Mul Hadarecha, Terav Lo, Yedidutecha, Minofetzu, Bechol Ta'am. Yananai, 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 yananai,
So Cantor Blatt and I just returned, she from Camp Zeke, where she leads them in, where she leads the campers in prayer and song. And I just came back this morning from Jerusalem. So I think we both have these like beautiful images in our mind of Shabbat in beautiful places that are really special to us. And I wanted to invite you to think of a place that makes you feel at peace, a place that makes you feel joyful, and maybe a place that makes you feel like it's all going to be okay. That's what Shabbat is. It's all of that. So we're going to turn to page 22, and we're going to work on bringing the joy into our lives through song and prayer.
Try that with me. Now
turn to page 24. We continue on page 26 with Or Zarua Latzadik. Light is sown for the righteous and for those who have joy in their hearts.
Or zarua latzadik, ule yishrei simcha. 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 Yadada, 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 or zarua latzadik, ule yishrei simcha. Or zarua latzadik, ule yishrei simcha. Yadada, 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 yada, 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 yadada, 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 yada, yada, yadada, yadada, yadada,
As we turn from Or Zarua Latzadik, one of the things I love to think about as we say that prayer is those lines is just that idea of righteousness, right? We're all aspiring to be righteous. What's something that we did throughout the week that felt like we were proud of ourselves for doing, something that we did that was exceptionally kind or thoughtful, compassionate? Or maybe what's something that someone else did for us, right? who showed up in our lives in a way that made us feel uplifted, cared for, seen. As we turn to page 28, Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, we sing out a new song to God.
Zameru Ladonai.
Middle of the page.
Bechinor, Bechinor, Vekol Zimra. Zameru Ladonai, 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 Bechinor, Bechinor, Vekol Zimra.
We turn to page 30, the bottom of the page. Romimu, Adonai Eloheinu.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtacharu le'har kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtacharu le'har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu.
Turning to page 34, Mizmor LeDavid.
Yalai, yalai, lai, yala, la, 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 yalai. Yalai, yalai, lai, yala, la, la, lai. Yalai, yalai, lai, yala, la, 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 yalai. Yalai, yalai, lai, yala, la, la, lai. Mizmor LeDavid, Avul Adonai. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Cantor Blatt. We're turning things over now as we transition from Kabbalat Shabbat into the Ma'ariv service. And we're going to begin with song.
How sweet it is
How sweet it is
to come together
together
and sing a song
and sing a song.
in the praise of God.
Praise of God.
Hine mahato umanayim shevet achis
Shevet Achim.
gam yachad. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Umevorach, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Umevorach, Umevorach. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We pause at this time in our service to remember with reverence those of our beloved whose Yartzites are observed today on the 16th day of Tammuz. Lillian Aronin, Morris Kodak, Eva Cohen, Joe Drazen, Hilda Ehrlich, Carl Friedler, Mr. Norman Grossman, Charlotte Himmel, Irvin R. Jaslow, Francis Cuff, Joseph Levy, Albert Moss, Louis Rosenthal, Lee Rotman, Janet Shoem, Aileen Scher. Max Sievitz, Barbara Sindler, Samuel Singer, Hyman Isaac Zolette, and Ellen Zweig. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may all of their memories forever be a blessing. And will those people who are in a period of mourning or observing a yahrzeit please rise and join me in the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. You can find the words on page 124. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yama divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayei uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'yimaru. Amen.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Ulamei Almaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemeda kudasha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'yimaru.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'rumav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen.
Amen.
May our loved ones' memories always be a blessing. We turn back in our Sidurim now to page 38 for Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala la 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala la 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'tibur echad השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו לתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה לה 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 בשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה לה 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 בשבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מכל הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה מחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה לה 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 בשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה לה 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 בשבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך ירם לוקה, קומיצי מתוך ההפכה, הרב לשבת בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. היי! לך דודי לקראת קלה לה 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 בשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה לה 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 בשבת נקבלה.
We turn to page 40 and rise as we conclude with a final stanza.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה לה 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 בשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה לה 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 בשבת נקבלה.
We remain standing as we extend our condolences this week to those of our beloved departed, to those who have lost loved ones over the past week. This week, the family of the late Dr. Melvin Corden, to the family of the late Nina Malakin, and to the family of the late David Rosenberg. We join together on the bottom of page 41. Did I mention that I just landed from Israel? We extend our condolences to those who have been bereaved over the past week. 41. Hamakom yirachem etchem b'toch sha'ar avalei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the Holy One who comforts the people of Israel grant you solace in your bereavement. We remain standing, and we turn to the Baruch Hu, which can be found on page 50. May be seated. We turn to page 51, and we're going to be led tonight in our responsive reading. Come on up.
Alan Weinstein, all the way from Florida. O Lord, your word brings on the evening twilight. The heavens proclaim your glory.
And we, your creatures on earth, behold in wonder your endless miracles.
Help us to recognize your guiding power in distant galaxies and in our own souls.
Teach us your law of righteousness and love, so that your Spirit may govern our lives.
Source of peace, bless our worship. May our meditations find favor in your sight.
May our gratitude for your wonders lead us in love to your service.
So that, like the changing seasons, the days, the nights, our lives too will proclaim your glory. Amen.
Amen. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, אמרי ולאביב.
52.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו ישכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. תהיה הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך, בכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We're seated and we turn to page 56 quietly in prayer.
והיה עם שמות.
And we join together in the middle of page 57. Therefore, keep these words of mine in your heart and in your soul. Bind them as a sign upon your arm and let them be a reminder above your eyes. Teach them to your children, speaking of them when you are at home and when you are away, when you lie down at night and when you rise up in the morning. Write them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Thus your days and the days of your children will be multiplied on the land which the Lord promised to your ancestors for as long as the heavens remain over the earth. Page 58.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Turning to the middle of page 60.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל לכאן ושילה ושמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, תורה תהילות תוספלה, תורה תהילות תוספלה. מלכותך ובניך, וכהים לפני משה, זה עלינו ואמרו, זה עלינו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We turn to page 63 and invite Sharon Fryman to come forward and lead us in our responsive reading.
Help us, O God, to lie down in peace, but teach us that peace means more than quiet.
Remind us that if we are to be at peace at night, we must take heed how we live by day.
Grant us the peace that comes from honest dealing, so that no fear of discovery will haunt our sleep.
Rid us of resentments and hatreds which rob us of the peace we crave.
Liberate us from enslaving habits which disturb us and give us no rest.
May we inflict no pain, bring no shame, and seek no profit from another's loss.
May we so live that we can face the world with serenity and with grace.
May we feel no remorse at night for what we have done during the day.
May we lie down in peace tonight and awaken tomorrow to a richer and fuller life.
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Page 64.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לגדולותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לגדולותם ברית עולם. בני ובן בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. יתקדש ויתקדש ברבה, ועל מה דברה כרותי וימליך מלכותי, וכיכון וביום יכון, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבם ברק, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה ברכו לילה, מן כל ברכתה ושילתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן ועלמה, ויאמרו amen.
We rise, we turn to page 69 for the Amidah, which is recited quietly in the evening, from page 69 through page 76.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך, ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הון מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
Or seated, and we turn to page 80.
ויקולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויקל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויברך אותו, כי יום שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות.
Turning to page 82.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל העליון, בונה שמיים מגן אבות בדברו, מקיים מתים במאמרו, האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו. ביום שבת קודשו, איבם רצה להניח להם, איבם רצה להניח להם, לפניו לעבוד ביראה ופחד, ולהודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מעין הברכות. אל ההודעות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה, ועמלנו שני עונג, זכר למעשה וראשית. יתגדל ויתקדש שם ירבה, על מעדי ודאקירות הביאמניק מלכותי בקאי כל נבימי כל נבקאי את כל בית ישראל, והגלה וצמן קדי ואימרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבם מברך, לעולם עולם מעלמיה. Barak Ishavak Vitoa Vituma Vidase Vitada Vitale Vitla Shemede Kudisha Velikule Lavin Kol Birkata Veshilata Tushpekata Venekamata Damiran Belma Veimeru Amen Tikkaval Selotodovat on the Kol Israel Kadamo Vohod Vishamai Veimeru Amen Yehishlam Alaba Vishamai Vechaim Aleinu Beal Kol Israel Veimeru Amen Ose Shalom Bimamav ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן.
I'd like to invite everyone to rise as Maura Sachs leads us in Kiddush, which can be found on page 90.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu mitzvosav v'ratzavanu v'shabas kadesho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishis ki hu yom tehila lemikrai kodesh Zecher letzias mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta, v'yasanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabas kadshecha, v'yahava uvratzon. Baruch Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbos.
We now have the opportunity to turn to our Friday night sermon, which will be delivered tonight by Rabbi Naomi Zaslow, our very own.
I think perhaps that we have done a disservice to Bilam. Yes, really. I think that we have been unfair to him as the Jewish people. What did Bilam do? He was called by Balak, the king of Moab, to come and smite the Jewish people. Not smite, curse the Jewish people. Instead, he says to Balak's messengers, I can't do it. Not today. I have to wash my hair. He says that he can only say the things that God puts into his mouth, and definitely God has blessed the Israelites, God has blessed the Jewish people. There will be no cursing today. And Balak goes back multiple times and demands Bilam's services, and each time Bilam says, I can't do it, I cannot curse these people. We don't give him any credit for that. We say that because he does eventually get hired or put up on the mountain to say some words to curse us, and instead blessings come out. We say that he is the Russia. We say that he is like the ultimate evil, and that's how the Jewish tradition has looked at him. But we ignore the reality that Bilam is actually in direct relationship with God. We see within the story, in our Torah, that Bilam is able to turn to God and talk to God face to face, panim el panim, just like what Moshe does. But that kind of parallel isn't by accident. We're meant to draw a connection between the two, between Moshe and between Bilam. We also see within the story that when Bilam rises in the morning and when he saddles his oxes and when he goes on his way and he has his messengers, we can see a parallel there to Abraham serving God, to getting up, to leaving early, to having his two servants with him. the Torah wants us to make this connection between both Moshe, Abraham, to Bilam, to this person who is completely outside of the Jewish tradition, who is speaking to God, who ends up blessing the Jewish people, or the Israelites, as it were. Why can't we give him that credit? Why can't we say that he had a relationship with God, that he was an actual prophet? It seems as if we have been unkind towards him. Well, when I think about our relationship, us as Jews, to this character, this non-Jewish character within the Torah, it reminds me of a section of text from the Palestinian Talmud, from the Talmud Yerushalmi. In it, we're presented with two different worldviews. There's the worldview of Rabbi Akiva and the worldview of Ben Azai. Rabbi Akiva says that the fundamental principle of being a Jew and being involved in mitzvot is the idea of Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, loving your neighbor as yourself. And the commentary understands that to mean that your neighbor is someone who is physically very close to you and is probably a Jewish person. Rabbi Akiva is saying that you need to be kind at least to other Jews. Rabbi Akiva's point. Ben Azai, in this same conversation, says, I like your idea, Rabbi Akiva, but I want to level it up a little bit. Ben Azai, instead of drawing from this idea of loving your neighbor as yourself, quotes us a passage from the 5th chapter of our Torah that says, Zeh Sefer Toldot Adam. This book, meaning the Torah, this book is the story of the generations of man. Meaning that our story as a human race, not only as Jews, includes everyone. It includes everyone that has been created, and includes everything that has been created. So when we are, Ben Azai is saying that our mitzvot and our deeds need to treat every human being and every created being with the same level of decency and kindness. That's much harder to do, to say that every human being, every animal, which is under all created beings, and even the natural world, the plants and the stones and the mountains, that all of those things have a unique divine spark within them. All of those things have divinity, have God's thumbprint, as it were, and that they need to be treated with dignity and kindness. We struggle with Rabbi Akiva's idea that, treat other Jewish people kindly. Ben Azai's is much broader than that. We can take Rabbi Akiva's idea, and it applies well to how the rabbis have understood Bilam. It's easy to say that Bilam is an outsider, that he is outside of us, and we can treat him a little bit suspiciously because his actions do seem suspicious. But if we were to use a Ben Azai point of view, and we could open up our hearts to him, we could give him the benefit of the doubt. We can say that God's spirit, the Ruach Elohim, actually dwelled within Bilam, as it says in the Torah, and that means that it has the potential to dwell in any person that we encounter, Jewish or not. It's a real universalist approach to thinking about the way that we should treat other people. Now, it's very hard for us to open up our hearts in that way. It's much easier to put up boundaries, to notice the ways that we are different from other people and other people are different from us. And especially when we are encountering people that we disagree with, it's very easy to say, well, you have your way and I have my way. But Ben Azai is saying that we're all united in this, that we are all holy, even the people that we disagree with. But if we were to see Bilam's inclusion within our Torah as God's hint to us to open up our hearts in this way, saying that this non-Jews, this outsider's story has been brought to us in order to remind us that this book, the Torah, or these scrolls, the Torah, is not only the Jewish story, that it's about everyone that we are around. It's helping us to get one step closer to this messianic ideal of breaking down the boundaries that divide us and bringing all people, all donkeys, all sorcerers such as Bilam into our hearts. Shabbat Shalom.
Turn in prayer to page 118, and we rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגול עלינו ככל המונה. השמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומשב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו, וגם הם אלוהים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל בהמך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ ויתקת אין עוד.
Page 120.
ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
We pause at this time in our service to remember with yard sites those of our beloved departed whose yard sites are observed from tonight, the 17th day of Tammuz, until tomorrow night. Morris Bond, Leo Ellman, Herman Engel, Samuel Pfaffer, Irving Goldberg, Richard Goodfriend, Jonas Grosshandler, Buddy Hobby, Sarah Wolf Klein, Pearl Liebfeld, Walter McIntosh, Isaac Rosenberg, Richard Rubin, Jacob Sachs, Gerald David Schuster, Morris Sherman, Lillian Spector, Paul Ullman, Leon Zuckerberg. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may their memories be a blessing, and will all of those people who are in a period of mourning or observing a yard site please rise And join me in reciting the words to the Mourner's Kaddish, page 124. Yirkadal v'yirkadash shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayei uv'yomei uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'yimeru amen.
Amen.
Yehi
Yehi
shmei
shmei
Rabbah
Rabbah
mevorach le'olam
mevorach
u'lamei
le'olam
olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yimeru amen.
Amen.
Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen.
Amen.
Couple of quick announcements before we conclude tonight's service. The first is tomorrow morning services will be at 10 o'clock in the Gorn Chapel. Tomorrow evening services will be at 8:30. Tomorrow's Parsha class can be found online at 9 o'clock. And Sunday morning services begin at 9:15, evening at 5:30. And just a reminder that Sunday is Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. It is a fast day, and it is the day where we remember and mourn for the time where the outer walls of Jerusalem were sieged by the Romans. So again, that's Sunday as we begin the 3 weeks that lead us into Tisha B'Av. So back to happiness, and we're going to conclude our service with our favorite prayer, Shalom Aleichem, page 16.
Shalom Aleichem, Malekei Hasharet, Malekei Elyon, V'melech Malkei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'melech Malkei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sing along if you know it. Boechem l'shalom, Malekei HaShalom, Malekei Elyon, V'melech Malkei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'melech Malkei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malekei HaShalom, Malekei Elyon, V'melech Malkei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'melech Malkei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Setchem l'shalom, Malekei HaShalom, Malekei Elyon, V'melech Malkei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'melech Malkei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Mungo.